guys? Press Performance Practices Unit Portfolio 155127. Artifact? Press Performance Practices Unit Portfolio Artifact 155127. I want to talk about the word content today. In the third group project that we did, Michael Clara and I were together, and we had worked on developing a kind of non-collaboration tactic for work making that, or not even work making, but we had practiced some non-collaboration in the space together, co-play, and we had come up with this stuff where this thing where we would start with an existing work, and then we would make things after taking in the work together. We would each go in separate corners of the room for 15 minutes and make something. We would do something. Images, text, voice, performance, all kinds of stuff. And then we would come back together and we would share these things with each other. And we would show each other these things and we would pass them. And then we would all look at, we would pass them and say, I'm giving this to you. I'm giving you this thing I sang. I'm giving you this thing I wrote. I'm giving you this image I made. I'm giving you this performance that I did. And then we would break up for another 15 minutes and come back together and share those things and then pass them. So it was a way of generating stuff, basically. And so we were just about to present on this. It was about 20 minutes before we were about to present. And I wrote about this in my executive summary, but there are some things I want to clarify now in this video, or a different thing that I want to talk about. So we couldn't come up with a word for the stuff that we were making. The performance ideas, the images, the sound, blah, blah, blah. We couldn't come up with a word for it. And we tried material, but that didn't work. We tried responses, but we didn't like that. We tried things, but that was, messy and everything. And I remembered that on my favorite podcast, Comedy Bang Bang, the host, Scott Aukerman, often when he's talking to somebody in the entertainment industry about releasing a new show that they're on being released or starting, or a new album coming out, or things like that, he says, he asks them if they've been slinging some tent, if they've been slinging any tent. Oh, you got that new show coming out? Yeah, you've been slinging some tent. And what this means is tent being short for content, web content, that being TV shows and albums and all this kind of stuff. And I always thought that was so funny, slinging tent. I'm going to be slinging some tent. And so I thought of that word content. And I thought about when, people my age, young professional millennials are, they talk about online stuff like tweets and blog posts and blah, 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 and, videos that can be shared and images and blah, blah, blah. They say content. They talk about content creators and the sharing of content. And it might have just been the media theory, convergence culture and participatory culture stuff I was reading at the time. But I thought the content, both because of the Scott Aukerman thing, that was how I originally thought of it, but just referring to anything in the entertainment industry as content, be it performances or whatever, and also this young millennials saying oh, are you a content creator, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. I just thought that the word content would be perfect because it didn't have any of the connotations of the words that were used in the performance and research world. And also, so it didn't have any of those connotations, and it was open enough that we could use it in the way that we wanted to without those connotations, and it was great, and it was perfect. It was a great word for the time. And that was kind of my first experience, this term of really nailing down the perfect word. And I had experiences where I didn't nail down the perfect word. The first project, Eva J and I were talking about balance, balancing our bodies in the space, and that that word didn't really work. And we were told that's not we weren't even told that wasn't the right word because the rest of our presentation was kind of jumbled and we were kind of all over the place and going to the buffet a whole lot and stuff like that. But and then in the second project, Jenny and I had agency. That wasn't right, and we didn't even end up looking at that really. But with this one, with the third one, I was like, content. That's what we're looking at. It's not what we're looking at, but we needed a word, and I had the word, and it was a good experience with that. So yeah, that's the story behind the word content, which is one of my shining moments this term. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends.